You want a story that hits you right away? No fluff, just raw reality? Here it goes. When three ruthless bullies thought a new black girl walking alone through their quiet suburban street was an easy target, they had no idea what was waiting for them. Just as they closed in, two huge military-trained dogs exploded from the shadows, teeth bared, eyes locked, turning the tables in an instant. Yeah, that happened. Maya stood in the driveway, the Georgia heat pressing down like a heavy blanket, watching the moving truck pull away. Their new house wasn't much, but the white siding against the tall pines felt like a fresh start after everything they'd been through. Her grandfather, Sergeant Luther Bell, a retired Army K-9 handler, was carrying boxes with that steady military posture, despite being 67. He called her baby girl, with that rough tenderness only a grandfather could have. Across the street, neighbors stared, their curiosity barely disguised. Maya could feel their eyes burning holes in her back. She tried to shrug it off, but it wasn't easy being the new girl, especially one with two massive German shepherds trained for military work. The HOA had rules about dogs like Valor and Echo, but her grandfather was firm. These dogs were family, protectors. The first day at school was rough. Maya timed her walk to the bus stop perfectly, but the whispers and sideways glances followed her like a shadow. When she got to Willow Creek High, a sprawling brick building with white columns trying too hard to look traditional, she already felt like an outsider. The cafeteria was worse, a sea of silent stares and snide remarks. Three boys, Chad, Kyle, and Derek, cornered her with insults dripping with cruelty, mocking her hair, her skin, even her dogs. Derek even snapped photos, ready to make her a viral joke. Maya swallowed the hot tears threatening to spill, remembering her grandmother's advice, "Don't let them see you cry." She stood tall, but inside, the loneliness gnawed at her. The afternoon passed in a blur of whispered gossip and cold shoulders. On the walk home, the boys followed, driving slow in their lifted red pickup, taunting her with fake kindness that barely masked their menace. Maya kept walking, steady but scared. Then came the moment that could have broken anyone. Cornered at her grandfather's lawn, surrounded, the boys taunting her with racist slurs and threats. But Maya wasn't alone. A sharp whistle sliced through the tension, and Valor and Echo exploded into the scene. Shadows turned protectors. Their growls echoed, their eyes fierce, turning bullies into frightened boys retreating fast. Just as things seemed to settle, the neighborhood erupted, not in relief, but chaos. Neighbors, led by a man named Mr. Harrison, accused Maya of setting attack dogs on innocent kids. Phones whipped out, videos spun to paint her as the aggressor, while Maya's protests were drowned out by hysteria and prejudice. The police arrived and immediately took the word of the bullies, ignoring her pleas. Valor and Echo were seized by animal control, their military training forgotten, locked away like criminals. Maya's world shrank. Her protectors gone, her story twisted, she faced a tidal wave of hatred. Social media exploded with edited clips, captions spewing hate, while neighborhood forums lit up with calls to get those dangerous animals out. Even her locker at school was vandalized. "Go home," scrawled in black marker. And the bullying intensified. Teachers looked away, classmates avoided her. But Maya had Luther, her rock, her grandfather, who reminded her, standing up for yourself isn't making trouble. It's making a change. Together with Ms. Franklin, the school counselor who refused to look the other way, and Mrs. Patel, a neighbor who risked it all to share hidden security footage proving the bully's aggression, Maya and Luther began building a case. The truth was messy but powerful, exposing decades of quiet discrimination masked by HOA rules and selective enforcement. A community that once whispered in silence now began to murmur with courage. A TA-packed HOA meeting, with the bully families front and center, Luther presented unedited footage showing Maya cornered and threatened before her dogs appeared. The room went silent, shock rippling through the crowd as the polished lies crumbled. Pastor Grant stood up, his voice booming with undeniable truth, revealing a pattern of harassment, racial bias, and abuse of power by those who claimed to protect the neighborhood. For the first time, Maya saw faces soften. Neighbors shared stories of their own struggles, the veil of silence lifting as cameras from local news crews caught every word. The HOA president's authority shattered. The bullies' parents looked small and scared. Police officers arrived to question them about a web of harassment and conspiracy. Justice was finally on its way, but the fight wasn't over. Valor was found tied and beaten behind the bully's garage, Echo hidden in a basement, victims of cruelty meant to intimidate. The community rallied, candles and signs in hand, demanding their safe return. Maya knelt by Valor's side, whispering promises of better days. In the weeks that followed, the neighborhood changed. The HOA board resigned, replaced by a diverse group determined to right wrongs. Maya found allies among classmates and neighbors, launching diversity clubs and sensitivity workshops. The scars were real, but so was hope. On a crisp autumn morning, Maya stepped outside, Valor and Echo at her side, tails wagging with cautious joy. The streets that once felt hostile now hummed with friendly voices and new beginnings. "We did it together," she said, scratching behind the dog's ears, her voice steady and sure. "This isn't just a story about dogs or bullies. It's about truth standing strong against hate, about the courage to fight when the world tries to silence you." So what do you think, viewers? When the system is rigged and power is used to intimidate, how far would you go to protect your family? Is standing up for yourself always making trouble? Or sometimes it's the only way to make change? Share your thoughts below, because justice isn't just a word, it's a conversation. And this one's just getting started. After that explosive HOA meeting where the truth finally came out, you'd think things would get easier for Maya and her grandfather Luther. But nope. What followed was another battle, just in a different form. The families behind the bullying weren't about to give up their grip on the neighborhood without a fight. They started pulling strings, using legal loopholes and backdoor tactics to silence Maya's family. A few days later, Luther got a letter from the HOA, cold, official, threatening heavy fines over dangerous pet violations, even hinting at eviction if they didn't comply. Maya sat beside him, eyes narrowing as he read the letter out loud. It was like they were trying to squeeze the life out of them, bit by bit. But Luther wasn't the type to back down. Military training had taught him to stay steady in the storm. "Maya," he said, voice firm, "we're not just going to fight back. We're going to fight smart, with evidence, with strategy, and with patience. They want us tired. We'll outlast them." Weeks later, Maya was invited to a local seminar on pet owner rights. It was hosted by a group fighting against unfair pet restrictions, and it was an eye-opener. She met people like Rochelle, a black woman whose pit bull helped her autistic son, but who'd been hounded by neighbors with complaints and legal threats. Their stories mirrored Maya's, systemic discrimination dressed up as rules. That seminar lit a fire in Maya. She started documenting everything, every threat, every nasty note, every whispered insult. Luther helped her connect with a local civil rights attorney, someone who'd won cases like theirs before. They also got smarter about using social media. They created a community page, sharing real footage, photos, and witness accounts that told the whole story, not just the edited clips spread by the bullies. Support grew fast. People online sent messages, offered help, even donated money for legal fees. The narrative was shifting. Maya wasn't just the dog girl anymore. She was a symbol of resilience, of standing up to hate. But the pushback wasn't gone. Anonymous calls, threatening letters, and even one terrifying night when Luther found his truck's tires slashed. Each time Maya felt like giving in, Luther reminded her, "We don't let fear win. We fight back, with courage and truth." Then came a breakthrough. Maya was invited for a live TV interview. For the first time, she could speak her truth, uninterrupted and unfiltered. She told the story of the bullying, the dogs, the twisted videos, and the quiet bravery of her grandfather. Her voice wavered, emotions raw, and millions saw the real Maya, not a villain, but a brave girl fighting for her place in the world. The community response was overwhelming. People rallied behind her. Local groups organized fundraisers. Neighbors she'd never met sent words of encouragement. Slowly, even some in Willow Creek began to question the silence they'd kept for so long. But the legal fight was far from over. The HOA and Bully families hired heavy-hitting lawyers, digging into every rule and technicality to stall the process, hoping to wear them down. Courtrooms became battlegrounds of wills, with lawyers tossing accusations and spinning half-truths like weapons. One tense hearing stood out. Luther, dressed in a sharp suit, stood tall as he laid out the military records proving valor and Echo's training and service. Mrs. Patel's video, captured from her doorbell camera, played for the court, showing the bullies stalking Maya before the dogs appeared in defense. The courtroom fell silent. Even the Bully family's smug confidence cracked. It wasn't just about the dogs anymore. It was about a family's courage, about confronting deep-seated bias masked by rules and privilege. Slowly, neighbors began to stir, whispering among themselves, no longer able to ignore the truth. Pastor Grant, a respected community leader, stood up and called out the systemic harassment, revealing a pattern of discrimination that had pushed families like Maya's to the edge for years. News crews arrived, cameras rolling, shining a spotlight on the dark underbelly of Willow Creek's perfect facade. For the first time, the HOA president looked small, his power crumbling. The Bullies' parents no longer held their heads high, but scurried away, trying to escape the mounting evidence. Police officers came to question them about hate crimes and conspiracy. Justice, long delayed, was finally moving forward. Yet, the aftermath was brutal. Valor was found beaten and tied behind the Bullies' garage. Echo was locked away in a basement, traumatized but alive. Maya knelt beside Valor, whispering promises of healing and safety. The community gathered, candles lit, signs raised, demanding the dog's safe return. Weeks later, the neighborhood slowly changed. The old HOA board resigned amid scandal. A new, diverse committee took over, promising fairness and inclusion. Maya found new friends among classmates who'd been silent witnesses. A student diversity club was born, sensitivity training became mandatory, and posters celebrating inclusion dotted the community center. Walking out one morning with Valor and Echo, tails wagging despite their scars, Maya breathed in the crisp air of a neighborhood learning to heal. She looked down at the dogs and smiled. We did this together. But here's the real question. Min true value. When the system is rigged, and those in power use rules to exclude and intimidate, is patience and legal action enough? Or do communities need to come together more fiercely to rewrite the rules themselves? How far would you go to protect your family when justice feels out of reach? Let me know what you think. Your voice could be part of the next chapter.